Scott has violated the equality rights of Big Jacques on the account of breaking and entering Mr. Jacques' private property along with theft of Big Jacques' belongings. The defendant, Michael Scott, is oddly representing himself today, while Big Jacques is being represented by Nathaniel Backwood. May we please call the prosecutor up to the stand to state his or her first case.
Your Honor, we have reason to believe that the motive of the offenses is as followed. Michael grew up in a French-speaking neighborhood when he was younger. However, he did not like the community or the culture. Thus, he left the community and betrayed his family. He is now running from the French mob as they see him as an asset to one of their projects. Ever since this has happened, Michael has been anti-French. He even changed his name to protect himself against the mob. Because you may feel skeptical right now of these events, we have our first piece of evidence to prove our statements. Michael's diary.
May I remind you, Nathaniel, that it is prohibited to search someone's house without their consent or without a warrant.
Yes, Your Honor, we are aware. We found this outside of his underwater upside-down beer pong class, which is technically an area of public property.
Proceed.
In this diary, Your Honor, Michael portrays that he does not like French people. He constantly says that he would much rather prefer if Canada was an English-only speaking country. Mr. Scott constantly states those stupid French people don't even have collective rights. The first thought that came to mind when I read this is that this statement was completely false, as Francophones do have rights.
May you state the definition of collective rights, as some people do not know.
Of course, Your Honor. Collective rights are when a group of people share rights based on their identity, religion, beliefs, etc. The purpose of collective rights is to affirm the collective rights of groups in society and to create a society where diversity belongs. Francophones bring bilingualism to Canada as they introduced this in 1969. You can see the Official Language Act for more in-depth information.
None of this matters. French people may have those rights entitled to them, but it doesn't mean we actually enforce it. They do not deserve these rights.
Do not interrupt the prosecutor as he speaks.
Thank you. Now, as I was saying, these rights exist to put order into and to protect everyone in Canada, including the French. These rights and rules must be followed in order to create a peaceful nation like Canada. Francophones are a key part to Canada and have been in this nation since 1608. Canada is one of 12 countries in the world to be bilingual. And to respond with Mr. Michael's statement, they do enforce laws. Canada includes the French so much that they even provide education in both languages. If you want to enter Parliament as an official position, you have to speak both French and English.
You better stop with all these rights and nonsense. The British rule Canada. The Queen is the Queen of England, not the French. The only reason we are bilingual is that we felt sorry because we were owning the French. Besides, these rights only affect like 2 people, since no one cares about the French anyway, and nobody speaks French.
Do not make me remind you again about interrupting the prosecutor during his speech.
Many thanks to you, Your Honor. Again, to counter Michael's statement, the French were actually the first European country to colonize Canada in 1608, as they created their first settlement called New France. The British did take over, however, we still keep many aspects of the French language and culture and use it in Canada today. Quebec is a major part of Canada that uses the French language and demonstrates the culture daily. Also, there are 55 million people in Canada who speak French. That is a lot. And 2 entire provinces speak French, Quebec and New Brunswick. I apologize for all this rant. Back to the journal. The journal also says that there isn't a reason for Francophones to have collective rights. However, the reason of this is because of the historical purposes. In the past, we assimilated French society, and Canada wants to pay this back to them by protecting their culture in the Constitution.
To support your facts, may you please tell us what legislation granted the Francophones these rights?
Yes, the Canadian Constitution gave Francophones these rights. Without rights confirmed to the Francophones, many people would not have joined Canada's Confederation Act in 1867. Francophones were guaranteed these rights in 1774 with the Quebec Act by the British. With all of this information, the prosecution rests.
Thank you. We will now call up the defense to state his or her case.
I've had enough of all this. Francophones suck. I don't care about those stupid Frenchies. No one does. The defense rests.
I believe that the verdict has been reached by the jury. The accused has been found guilty.
Guilty! Guilty! Watermelon!